you gotta do your best. But to win, you gotta be the best. Go, give me the gold. I want the gold. The goal is to be in first place on my kids, yeah. All I know is double time and do it big, yeah. Out here on my hustle slime, I'm out my grid, yeah. Struggle ain't a trait of mine, I'm on my biz, yeah. And I won't fold. What up? It's me, Prez, back at you with another Real Ninja review. And lately, I've been doing reviews with this channel called Red Tree Stories. Red Tree Stories. This ain't Red Tree Crimes this time. I thought it was Red Tree Crime. So this one is Red Tree Stories. Maybe it's the same channel. Let's see. It looked like it is. Well, here's the description of the channel. Okay, I guess it's a different channel. This channel is for educational purposes. Our goal is to educate people on how police operate behind the scenes to extract confessions from suspects. We show the psychology behind police interrogations. We also showcase true crime documentaries from all over the world. Okay, so this looks like the same people who make that channel, just not. Okay, so let's get on here and get to it. This video is called The Shocking Confessions of an Angry Ex-Wife. All right, and let's get to it.
Mercer County Sheriff's Office.
Yes, I may be just totally off my rocker, but I was just out walking my dog, and I came across some bones that look to me to be human. Maybe they're not, but I was wondering if I could send those pictures to you or email them to you.
The police were able to confirm that the bones were in fact human. However, it would take 4 years before they would be identified. The remains belonged to 21-year-old Ryan Zimmerman. Before Ryan's life had been taken, he had been roommates with a woman named Sarah Buzzard, her ex-husband Corey, and another woman named Jenna Whitaker. The police began their investigation into the 3 roommates. Sarah and Corey were divorced, and Sarah was now married to Jenna, and they lived together in Sarah's home. The investigation lasted several months, and thanks to social media and phone records, they were able to gather enough evidence to get an arrest warrant for Sarah. After Sarah was arrested in her home, 5 officers began interviewing Jenna about Ryan's death. During that interview, Jenna grabbed a weapon out of her purse and took her own life.
Damn!
Sarah was brought down to the local police department and was put into an interrogation room.
Well, obviously we've spoken with Mr. Lamar and Mr. Wilson, your attorneys. They're fully aware of what's going on. They've spoken with you. Is that correct?
They said she pulled a weapon out of her purse and shot herself. Amazing.
Okay. And they've given you the go-ahead to speak with us without them present. Is that correct? Yes, that's correct. Okay. I explained to them I'm still going to read you your Miranda rights here, just to make sure that's covered. But then we can just chat and for some things here. So that is what we will do here.
Sarah begins by telling the detectives the events leading up to Ryan moving in. Sarah claimed that it all started when she met her current wife, Jenna, on a dating website.
So I first met Jen around, I think, late June-ish, 2014, on a dating site. Mm-hmm. And Corey, my husband at the time, wasn't going to be involved. He knew about it, but he said that he wouldn't try to insert himself in the relationship. So she and I would meet up for movies at my apartment until around the 3rd date when we became in a sexual relationship. Mm-hmm. Around that time, I learned from her that she was transgender, She had been on hormone therapy for 6 or 7 years, but it was before she had her surgery. And when Corey found out, he really tried to insert himself into the relationship because he had this personal philosophy that a perfect relationship involved a man, a woman, and a transgendered individual. I don't know where he came up with this. I never shared it. Before Jen and I met in person, I had told her that he wouldn't be involved, so the fact that now he was trying to be involved did not help either of us. So we had our relationship, and
So the transgender woman, which is a natural born man, shot themselves. Amazing.
Corey was trying to pursue other women without success. I never knew about his conversations because I didn't want to know, and he never volunteered it to me. So then around February 2015, Jen went back to her hometown in Massachusetts to do some kind of paperwork, name change or something like that. She didn't really go into details. And then during her absence, that's when Corey started talking to Ryan online. I didn't know about their conversations until around early April-ish, when he told me that he wanted Ryan to move in with us so that he could act on this philosophy. And we argued constantly for the entire month because I always felt like he needed this other person to make up for traits that I lacked, and that really, really hurt. And he was expecting me to, I don't know, not fall in love, but become infatuated with Ryan when I first met him, and everything would be perfect.
Sure.
So we argued because he was adamant about it. I did not want it to happen. He didn't like any of the compromises that I was trying to come up with. So finally, I came up with a compromise that I still didn't like, but it was the best I could do, which was Ryan would be allowed to stay in our spare bedroom on the condition that he pay rent, purchase his own groceries, and at the end of a 3-month period, he would have to have a job and his own apartment. Because I told Corey that if the relationship he was pursuing with him was going well, Ryan could still be around to see him, but I didn't want him staying in the house the whole time.
Well, that sounds fair.
Yeah, which he agreed to. So I talked to Ryan online once, and I did not like him. He was extremely subservient to the point where I found it extremely annoying. Like I was asking him, what are your hobbies? What do you like to do? And he said, I like to draw. And I told him, I have a degree in that. I'd love to help you. He said, no, I'll never be good enough. So I understand that his family, I could see why he had that kind of personality, but I didn't like it. And I let Corey know that I said, I didn't see what he looked like. I don't know if Corey had gotten pictures, but I never got one. And I said, I don't think I'm going to like him when he comes, but I will still give him a chance to at least have somewhere to stay until he gets on his feet. So Jen came back around mid-May 2015, and she kind of officially moved into the living room around either the end of June, early July, something like that, before Ryan came. So she set up her space in the living room. We fashioned a curtain to block it off from the stairwell in the kitchen, so there's a little bit of privacy. And then Ryan came, I don't remember exactly when, but I think it was either the end of July or early August 2015, somewhere in that range. And from that point, he moved into the upstairs spare bedroom. Upstairs, we also had the bedroom that Corey and I used to stay in, adjacent. So his spare room would be here, the bedroom was here, there was a long hallway, the bathroom, and then the office. So while Ryan was there, he did pay rent, he did purchase his groceries, but I didn't really interact with him if I didn't have to. Myra did not like him, Jen, I guess, she did not like him at all from the beginning. She would make comments like he was a disgusting person, the world would be better off without him. She just absolutely loathed him, mostly because of his personality, but also because he would eavesdrop at the top of the stairs, and she would always catch him, and that really bothered her.
But eavesdrop on your conversation or just in general in your personal space?
If anyone was talking in the kitchen,
Okay.
he would sit at the top of the stairs and try to eavesdrop. So Naira, Jen kept to herself.
You can call her whatever you want. Whatever you're comfortable with. Okay.
So Naira was, she stayed in the living room primarily. Didn't really interact with Corey or Ryan if she could help it, unless we were all in the kitchen during meal times. I bounced back from staying with her, going to work, and then sometimes staying up in the office with Corey because that's where my desk was. I also tried not to interact with Ryan as much as possible, but I was a little bit more open if he had questions. And then Ryan stayed in his room primarily all the time. And then Corey would bounce between hanging out in Ryan's room, staying in the office, or going to school. So we all kind of had a uncomfortable but functioning relationship. And then in September, I think it was the 25th. I know it was the weekend when everything happened, and I can't exactly remember if it was a Friday or a Saturday. I think it was Friday the 25th. Corey told me that he was meeting a woman at the Greyhound bus station, and that they had reserved a hotel room in downtown Columbus, and they were going to stay there for the whole weekend. And he also told me that he didn't want to have anything to do with Ryan anymore. He wasn't what Corey expected, and he had not tried to hold up his end of the deal. He had scheduled several job interviews and never went to a single one because he was convinced that he was just going to get rejected, so why bother? So Corey told me that he did not want Ryan there anymore. He had told him that he wanted him to pack up and leave before Corey came back. And then he left to go to the hotel. The next day, I don't remember seeing Ryan at all the rest of that day. If I did, it was briefly to go into the kitchen to get something, but he didn't really talk to me. On the morning of the 26th, Naira started voicing some plan about killing him, and I did not take her seriously because she would make comments like that sometimes. Like if we were in the parking lot and we saw a woman waiting in her car, she would say something like, "Oh, I wonder what would happen if I just shot her in there," or, "Oh, I wonder what would happen if we drove this cyclist off the road," and things like that. She never acted on them, so I never took her seriously. So when she started saying things about killing Ryan, I didn't take her seriously.
Did she first say something that morning, or had she said something and
She may have made passing comments prior, but nothing major. It was less about murder, more about just violence. But I can't remember.
Okay.
But if she did, they were short and passed, and then that was it. When I went upstairs at some point during the day to get something out of the office, Ryan had left a note propped up on the staircase banister asking to talk to me, and I really didn't want to talk to him.
because I just wanted him to go. So then I went back downstairs, and then later on, when I went to use the bathroom, as I was exiting, he stuck his head out of his room and said, "Can I talk to you?" So I finally did. I sat on the floor and listened as he cried and begged me to give him a second chance. He said that Corey hated him and that he wanted. I tuned a lot of it out because I knew he just wanted a second chance. But I told him, "Look, I'm sorry that Corey said that and that he wanted you to leave before your 3-month period, but if that's what he wants, then I'm going to stand by it. Plus, I pointed out, you haven't tried to go to any of your job interviews, and you can't use the excuse that you didn't have a car or you didn't have like a resume that had interested them enough to schedule it. You just didn't want to go because you chickened out." And I said that I wouldn't do anything, that if that's what Corey wanted, then he would have to leave this weekend. Which is not what he wanted to hear, but he agreed to it. So then I left and went back downstairs and I filled in Naira on what he had told me. And that's when she went back to fleshing out her plan. I still didn't take her seriously, but I was starting to get worried because of how intricate it was getting. And then when she started gathering tools like trash bags, bleach, the handsaw from the shed, I realized she was serious. So I tried to talk her out of it, calmly at first, and then I started getting a little hysterical. And she told me that if I didn't help, that she was going to do it anyway, and that it was going to be a lot messier and a lot harder to get everything done by herself, and that Corey would probably come home before she was finished. So she said that she would just give me a small role to play, but she would do most of the heavy work. And usually at this point, the attorneys ask me, "Well, why did you do it? Why didn't you call the police? Why didn't you kick her out?" And it was because I loved her. I knew that she wasn't a good person. I knew that she was kind of borderline sociopathic. She liked to manipulate people, including me early in our relationship, but she was the only person who had been there for me through everything that Corey had put me through. And she was the first person that I actually felt like cared about me. Maybe not so much at this point in our relationship, but later on, she was fiercely loyal to me. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't want to lose her. So I agreed that I would help.
Sarah confesses that she helped Jenna not only take Ryan's life, but dispose of the body as well. Sarah spends the next 20 minutes detailing the graphic events. After she finishes, she tells them how it took all day for them to finally dispose of Ryan's body.
It started getting dark. I don't remember how long we were on the road, but I knew that the day had gone by very quickly. I'm guessing a lot of the time was spent trying to get the car to start, but it did start getting dark when we left in my car. Sure. And I started, again, driving towards Illinois, and once it got dark, Myra would randomly pick exits for me to turn off on, and we would drive around trying to find dumpsters that were open and unsupervised, and we would throw one of the bags in it and then get back on the highway and keep going. Sure. So we did that until we just had the torso left, but at that point we had both been awake for 36 some hours, so I kept falling asleep at the wheel, and I told her I can't keep driving. Mm-hmm. So that's when we found the wooded area here, dumped the torso, and turned around and started driving back to Columbus. Mm-hmm. And I had to stop frequently on country roads to take a quick nap just so I could keep going. And I think it was maybe 1, 2 o'clock in the morning by the time we got back. and Corey was waiting for us in the kitchen. He didn't suspect anything, but he was angry that I had turned off my phone because he had tried to text me to see where I was. So he was furious that he didn't know where we were. I did not want to talk to him. I just wanted to sleep. So we both, Naira and I both went back to the living room and fell asleep. I don't remember what she did with the bin. I know that she cleaned it out. I can't remember if she just threw it in the dumpster at the apartment or what she did with it. But it eventually disappeared somehow. Corey never suspected anything. I told him Ryan packed up and left, and he didn't give him a second thought. He started dating another woman until he moved in with her sometime in November. And Naira and I vacated the apartment December, January, somewhere. It was slow work, and moved everything back to my mom's house. And then early January, Corey and I had an uncontested divorce, and then Naira and I married at the end of January. And for a long time, we would check the news constantly. That's when we found out that the torso was discovered. But as time went on and we didn't see any new news, we started planning for a future instead.
Sarah begins to explain why Jenna took her own life while she was being questioned about Ryan's death. Both Jenna and Sarah had agreed that if they were ever caught, they would never go to prison.
Because she said she would rather die than spend her life in prison, especially since at the time she was still anatomically male. So she said that she would probably have to go to the male prison, and that was a death sentence in itself because she was very, very feminine. But I was also scared because I'm terrified of death. I did not want to have it go that way.
Sure.
But as time passed and nothing new happened, I started to feel better, that maybe we'd be able to live a life together. And then the arrest came, and when I said goodbye to her, I could see it in her face that she knew. And when the officer at the Marion Police Department told me what happened, I wasn't surprised, but it still hurt.
Sure. I need tissues. There we go.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
And that's about it.
Now that Sarah has finished telling her story, the detectives must figure out what to charge her with. They do this by asking questions to see how involved she really was.
So if you don't mind, I have a few questions, okay? Kind of going back a little bit to the point where you said she would bring it up and talk about it, I guess, and she kind of laid out her plan. What did she explain?
She was trying to figure out the best way to kill him without alerting anyone. She didn't want to shoot him because that would be loud, that would be messy, and it would draw attention. So the only other idea she could come up with that would be quiet would be strangulation. And she wanted me to hold Ryan down so that he wouldn't flee or kick her or anything, while she put the rag on his face. She didn't share the after part, when we needed to dispose of things, either because, again, she wanted it as a need-to-know basis, or she hadn't figured it out just yet. So she told me that my role was just to pull him down and she would take care of the rest.
Do you feel like when you pulled him down, did he pass when you had your arms around him? Do you feel like he was dead and then she told you you could go?
I don't know. I don't have any experience with what the body or what a body does as it's fighting. So I don't know. I know that he was still making noises as I left, but at that point I didn't know if it was him voluntarily doing it or if it was just a reaction.
Okay.
And after I got in the office, I covered my face. I didn't want to look. So anything else was noise for me.
You had mentioned that she went and gathered all these different things. And I guess, what do you mean she went and gathered? Did she go to a store to buy some of this stuff?
She got everything in the apartment. Trash bags and bleach and vinegar were in the kitchen as cleaning supplies. I don't remember where the handsaw came from. I don't know if someone left it there, if it was Corey's. It was something that I saw but never really thought about. But she knew that it was in there.
In
the shed.
Okay, which is the outside little closet type thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Because you had mentioned that she brought this up previously. How far previously did she start making comments about violence towards Ryan or killing Ryan versus when it actually took place that weekend?
Well, she made maybe not necessarily violent comments, but disgusted comments she would make ever since basically when he arrived. She more commonly said things like, he's a disgusting human being, or the world would be better off without him, but she didn't actually say things like, I wonder what would happen if I killed him, until that day.
The day that happened. Okay. You had mentioned the bleach and vinegar on the ring. Okay. And then mentioned something different was put into the pot?
Lye, some kind of lye mixture.
Okay. And is that something you would have had on hand, or did she go out and purchase?
That she did purchase.
You had also mentioned that she did her research. What do you mean by that?
Researching the chemical reaction. I'm not sure what else. I wasn't either paying attention or actually there when she was doing that research.
Did she have her own computer? Okay, own accounts, that sort of thing? Because as we had previously mentioned or spoke, there was different searches and things on your Google. Would that have been you, like searching the jugular, that sort of thing, to know, to make sure you got it right the first time?
I didn't search for it. It may have been something that she searched for, because I would let her borrow my phone if she needed something right away. So I don't recall making the search myself, because I can't think of any information that I would have gotten from it. So that would be something that she might have done. The car, the troubleshooting with the car, I knew that she did.
She was searching. Okay. The days leading up to this, you mentioned that Corey indicated that he, wanted Ryan gone, basically. Was how do you say, is it Naira? Naira. I'm sorry, I mess it up every time. Was she a part of those conversations when he would explain that to you? Did she know that he wanted him out of the picture?
Typically, he wouldn't say it while she was there, but I would relay the information to her, just so everyone was on the same page.
Sure. Okay. You doing okay?
Yeah.
I know we're asking questions, so I apologize.
It's hard reliving this over and over and over, and
So after everything, we can move forward.
I hope so. Yeah. I think I have to do it again at the sentencing, so I'm just very emotionally drained having to do this over and over.
Well, unfortunately, in situations like this, sometimes it helps to get it all out. The more that you speak about it, then that offers closure for you as well.
Yeah.
So, as with me in past circumstances, so hopefully you'll get that same closure.
Yeah.
Sarah was found guilty of murder, and she was sentenced to 30 years to life in prison. This means that after 30 years, she will go before a parole board, and they will decide if she is fit to rejoin society. Thank you for watching this video. Please share your thoughts in the comments below. I will see you next time here on the Red Tree Stories YouTube channel.
Red Tree Stories on YouTube. Check them out. Thanks for tuning in. I'm glad I ran into that page. Now I got another page to look at because they're doing good videos over there at Red Tree. So, y'all have a great day. Holla!
To succeed, you gotta do your best. But to win, you gotta be the best. Go, give me the gold. I want the gold. The goal is to be in first place on my kids, yeah. All I know is double time and do it big, yeah. Out here on my hustle slime, I'm out my greed.